It's like it's hard to scroll through this video because it's so long. You like can't.
39 hours long.
I think it's basically any minute now. Okay, there we go.
Oh, there you go.
Garden.
Hey nerds. I'm back again with Manifold Garden. My couch, I got Vio and Flapjack. You won't be hearing them too much. Let's just get right into this. Real quick, if you have photosensitivity issues, I'm going to mention a trick called Flate, and I'm going to mark the beginning and the end of it. So if you have issues with that, feel free to do whatever you need to do in order to avoid flash and stuff. So let's just get this ripping and roaring. Time starts on save, so 3, 2, 1,
go!
All right. So, welcome to Manifold Garden. You may notice a couple of things from the get-go. One of the intended things is using gravity. This is terribly important as A, I can't jump, and B, falling is about 5 times faster than sprinting, so I need to make sure I get that going. The other thing is that this game is non-Euclidean, meaning like things wrap around in the X, Y, and Z plane. Okay, so this is a particular trick, which if I mess this up, it's a soft lock, so here we go. Hey, first try. Fantastic. Okay. I'm doing this to avoid a flate, which I will mention later. Okay, so I need to bring these cubes with me to skip basically the entire game. Don't worry about it. So a wall clip is where I stand slightly away from a wall, and I can drop a cube in front of me, and hey presto, I've clipped through it. Now, taking the cube with me is a lot more difficult, but usually it's manageable if you're falling from a very tall height because it tries to rubber band you through. So to explain exactly what I'm not going to be doing, normally there is a dark seed. There's 6 dark seeds that you need to plant for 6 God cubes, which are used to unlock a hub level for the final set of trials, the 800 worlds. Now, as it turns out, unlocking the dark seeds and the God cubes, that's all slow and vaguely plot related, and I like neither of those. So I'm going to do my best to skip both of these. So first I'm going to be falling onto this door here. I'm going to need 2 cubes, one to clip through and one to take with me through the end. So you can see there's a tree here. Normally what you do is you plant a dark seed on it, which you get after activating a bunch of lasers and a whole bunch of other gubbins, but we're not going to bother. Oh, hey, I need the other cube. Fantastic. So once I get both these cubes over to the door, we're going to execute our first Flate, F-L-A-I-T.
It's the best name ever.
Flailing like an idiot technology. It is exactly as technical as it sounds. And this is why I want, for y'all photosensitives, I'm going to be whipping my mouse left and right like no other. So,
much.
if you're not a fan of that, feel free. So I will mention that when we get there. But this is effective for letting me clip cubes through walls when I normally shouldn't be able to. So, so my first clip is here. Okay, so here's a Flate. Feel free to do whatever.
The sound effects help, definitely.
Yes.
So you may be wondering, oh,
there we go. All right.
Relatively fast. All right. And then I bring this cube with me. Nobody understands how this trick works. Shout outs to Invive for making a trick that nobody understands how it works. Oh, hey.
He's trying to pull it through the wall. Oh.
Oh, no.
Oh,
okay.
We got to back up. We got to back up. Everyone avert your eyes, okay?
Never happened before.
That part made us really nervous.
Hey, all right, first try.
Oh.
That was supposed to come with me. That almost never happens. It got teleported to the nether realms. I don't know. Okay, so I skipped the first dark seed and God cube. That's where you normally put it, and that unlocks like the next series of levels. All sort of gorgeous and whatnot, but with this cube, we're going over to the door that is unlocked once you get all 6 God cubes, and if I'm particularly careful, hey, we're now in the trial section.
Nice.
So this is the end stretch of levels here. So it's going to be taking all the mechanics that we definitely learned and turning them on their head. So make sure to watch out for that. Thankfully, if you're looking to avoid spoilers, this is the one of like 3 intended ways that I'm solving this puzzle here, and that's even particularly sorta. So you may be noticing how I'm sort of managing my ability to fall and so on and so forth. Pretty much every single turn is pretty carefully calculated in order to optimize my ability to fall instead of sprinting, because sprinting is slow and for nerds. So All right, so over here we're going to be going on to our second plate. This avoids a pretty lengthy cube manipulation puzzle with water, but it is also the worst trick in the run. Shoutouts to me because I find all the worst tricks in the run. All the cool strats are found by Preshing, who has the world record, as he well should have, whereas I'm cursed. So, you know, let's get this rip roaring. All right, plate begins. I'm so sorry, y'all. I'm so sorry. By the way, if I don't get this in like 30 seconds, please let me know, because... Oh!
Yay, all right.
Hey, we're good. All right, fantastic. Okay, plate is done. So, come back, y'all. This is the good part of the game now. So, I'm going to be skipping basically every single one of these puzzles through here using the cube clip and so on and so forth, and abusing very tiny collision things. So for example, up here, there's a door that I'm supposed to get up to. I'm just going to clip through this wall here, and I can walk up the side. That's cool. A lot of the other things are very similar, and since it's much more a visual experience than technical, I'm going to open it up for I don't know, half a minute of donations. So.
Alrighty. We have $10 from Ear Foxtrot that says, all the support with the Gelly and Manifold Garden Discord. We're excited to see you run this game. And William Cheer has promised to live stream his reactions to your run.
Oh, that's awesome. William Cheer, shout outs to him. He's been developing this game since November 2012, and it came out October of this year. Worked very hard on it, and I think the result definitely shows. So shout outs to him. I'm glad he's very supportive.
They say, thank you for running this gem of a game. P.S. This game is about falling.
You keep going. One more.
Well, we have $100 from Papa Danny that says, loving AGDQ. Good luck to all of the runners. Thank you so much for that.
Thank you. All right, so as I skip this next puzzle up here, I'm going to explain the legend of 806. 806 at the moment is a puzzle that we solve intended-like. And that's because we don't know how to skip the ending door. A lot of these doors, you can't directly clip through them because they got weird, funky-do geometry on them. And so for the most part, we find ways to get around them, like on the side there. But this door up ahead, we found no discernible way to get past it. If we could, it would save 40 seconds, as you'll soon see why. So there's a bunch of Minos, like, you know, a bunch of blocks together, and they're controlled by gravity, but their terminal velocity is absolutely dismal. So I have to wait for them to fall. So like right now, I'm currently manipulating blocks in the position there. There is a little bit of management that you can do by doing things while waiting for things to fall, but that's minimum at best. So if you want to be the next contestant on destroying the world record, this is the first thing to look at. We'll soon get to the second thing to look at. So we're just waiting for the piece to fall here.
Enjoy the ambiance.
Oh, yeah. Bingo, all right. And assuming I don't mess nothing up, drop. And, oh, hey, I messed something up, yeah. It doesn't lose.
If I mess something up, you mean slightly misplaced.
All right, and we're gonna make it to this door here. So this is the door. This door also potentially could soft lock us. Bless RNG. Hey, no solid portal,
right.
we good, we in there, all right. And so now the next puzzle is the one we'd also like to skip. This is the only God Cube that we unlock in the run by getting a Dark Seed. We can actually skip the door. We can get past it using the same method as we saw in the introduction. Unfortunately, we require the God Cube in order to unlock a building that hasn't appeared quite yet. So if you could find a way to skip that, that would be like a minute of time save, because there's a required cutscene that we got to watch. Talking about that required cutscene, I'm intentionally taking a 15-second hit on a trick that I know works. If you make a save and a load, you skip a bunch of animations, which I may or may not be able to point out if I'm good at this game. And if you make a save and a load, yeah, it skips the animation and you can pick up the cube instantly. However, there's like a 60% chance that it messes up the cutscene. And since I think the best part about this game is the visual acuity and how it looks and all that sort of stuff, I'm gonna make sure that we see it right. So while I'm waiting and while we get to watch cutscenes, you get like 45 seconds of donations.
Well, speaking of, we have $100 from William Cheer that says, hey, GDQ, this is the Manifold Garden team wishing good luck to Jelly on the run. Gelly on the run.
Gelly, thank you.
It's an honor to have our game featured in an event like this. Here's to a week of great runs, great RNG, and a great group of people coming together for such a good cause. Thank you so, so much for that.
Much love. All right. Yeah, keep going.
We have $100 from Sauter J that says, first time donating to AGDQ, and what a better time from one of my favorite games, Manifold Garden. Best of luck to Gelly and all of your flates. Be blessed.
Thank you.
It's such a great name.
It's just mesmerizing.
So fun fact I found out recently, William Cheer used to be a massive balloon sculpture creator. And it's sort of ironic that in this game there are like absolutely no curves, where it seemed to be that he used to exclusively work with curves. So quite a change in direction. So now we're making it on our final sprint here. This is the God Cube. You get to see them in all different colors if you don't like skip the game like a degenerate, but you know. As we make our walk, I'd like you to pay attention to the audio, like right about here.
Dragging a stick
Thank
along
you
the
for
fence.
that.
The best sound in the game. Drops a sick beat too. All right, so we're really heading to the end of the game here. We're almost done. All right, so once I get up these stairs, I'm gonna hand them into this building, which is apparently requiring the God Cube. We haven't found a way to skip that quite yet. And I'm going to try to jump on the invisible collision using a setup called counting. Oh, beans. Okay.
Counting.
1, 2. All right. Hope it worked. And then by landing on it, I can just make my progress forward. Hey, perfect.
Uh-oh.
All right. So now here's the last skip in the game. Shoutouts to Preshing. He found a way to potentially skip 28 seconds. I'm going to try to be very careful doing this. Hey, we got it. All right.
All right.
So I skipped a trigger that wouldn't let me flip gravity. And by doing so, I can just fall to the very end here. So I don't know how much falling I've got, like a minute. So this is my time for shout-outs. First, for my personal shout-outs, I'd like to thank Zet237 and Yajiji, Y-A-J-I-J-Y, pretty sure, because they've been fantastically nice to me in my speedrunning career. As for the Manifold Garden speedrunners, I'd like to particularly thank Preshing, Invive, Lilith, RBD Jellyfish, all the people who have worked on this game since it's come out. I appreciate you. And for anyone I forgot, I'm so sorry. And much thanks especially to William Cheer and his dev team for making this game. Time comes up when the kaleidoscope appears. Time.
So yeah, that was pretty cool. We'll go back here. I think it was like 12:04. We'll kind of like just step through this. So first of all, Gelly is in the chat. Congrats. That was pretty awesome. That was really fun for us to watch it. I think just my immediate reaction is we had no idea about the cube trick, the cube skip. And the reason why we implemented that is, you know, there's some of the puzzles in the early part of the game kind of requires like more block manipulation, and there's one that in 001 you had to like stand on a green cube and carry a red cube along the wall. And it used to be, what do we do? It was like the cube would go through you or it would push you off, but I think it was we added a fix, and I think you're taking advantage of that to the push into seeing you go into the walking along the wall is actually super cool, because you know essentially the way we build the level, it's all Lego pieces, so you can see each of these is a different block, and so that means like if I have a door, like in this case, you'll see it ends up being a different, right? That's 3 different blocks, so you're sort of taking advantage of that. I guess like the way we could have prevented you had we, you know, made like, I guess we could have done this, and then that would have blocked you in one direction. It gets merged together, but it keeps the faces. So it gets merged into, it gets merged, but it doesn't get optimized. So it's like they're all together, but it doesn't. It's not it the way we could have done it, and it didn't work. So this is something that that we failed. Was we were going to do CSG modeling. So you're lucky that this failed, because the way that would have worked is, so CSG modeling, it's, these two combine. It's like a Boolean operation with shapes. So these two combine, it would form that, but it wouldn't keep the hidden meshes inside. So we wanted to do this, but it didn't work. If CSG had worked, I don't think we would have been able to do that trick, because there wouldn't have been a face alongside. Aaron, you're still there? Yeah.
Yeah, I'm still here. Yeah, I was about to say that. Yeah, that is correct. The only thing I have to note is that one of the other reasons that we ended up not doing that is because while CSG for the most part is good for like when you actually want to do Boolean math, like Boolean operations, we don't actually have a reason to do the Boolean operations. So it actually ends up being less efficient for us, because we have to make more faces to make up for the spaces on the inside that aren't covered. It's a weird middle ground where sometimes you get more faces, or sometimes you get less faces, and it's optimized more, and sometimes you end up with more than you started with, and it's less optimal. So that's another reason we ended up not doing that. But yeah, the reason that you guys can walk on the inside of objects is because technically the colliders and all of those like faces are still there even when they're the inside of something. Yeah.
I'm just waiting a bit so I don't overlap with Aaron. But also Sean asked, why didn't CSG work? Honestly, I don't know. We were using another Unity asset, and so sometimes these things just don't work. It was like, I think Arthur was responsible for it. Yeah. I mean, there were some of the reasons that Aaron mentioned. But we also just did not. There were also just problems with it. Oh, also one of the things Gelly didn't talk about, but that was it's too late for us to change it, but I don't know if you guys saw it. There was the instant transition because of when he's gravity changing, instead of going through the motion, we added that to deal with motion sickness, but we actually intended for it to be we actually intended for it to have the same amount of time. I think there might actually be a bug with it right now where the cubes don't fall at the same time. So if you put a cube on a wall and then you gravity change, it's supposed to fall the same amount of distance that you can hold it up. Because it used to be early on was that the cubes would fall slower, and then you could, if you had this giant wall, you could just take like 30 gravity changes to get it over the other side. And we made it so that it would fall the same distance, so you can't use that trick. I am not sure if the instant makes it possible that you can still do that trick. Or if we made it so that the cubes did fall faster if you're instant. I am not sure.
As far as I'm aware, none of the tricks that they're doing actually are affected by instant transition, like none of the cube tricks. The instant transition is just because it takes less time than a normal transition does, so they can get moving quicker when they land. That's all. So yeah. But Gelly said otherwise, so I'm not sure.
That is weird that they're able to grab the cube. Like, shouldn't it? I guess it's because how is that possible? I guess he must have been inside the glass, hence there wasn't. Oh, he must have been inside the collider, because if he was on the other side, he wouldn't have been able to grab the cube. Oh, interesting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because mesh colliders. This is actually something I was going to talk about a little bit too, with the clipping through walls and stuff. The only reason you can clip through the walls is because Unity has different math for mesh colliders versus primitive colliders like box colliders or sphere colliders. Generally speaking, aside from like literal like physics bugs that aren't like stuff we can control, if you attempt to push an object through a primitive collider, and that object has continuous detection, which is what we use for our players, then the object can never go through that. So that's why you can't clip through doors, is because doors are comprised completely of box colliders. So you can't bug through them unless you can figure out a way to teleport to the other side, which is different. You can't push yourself through them, but you can teleport through them. So that's why you can push yourself through mesh colliders, because the math is different, and they're very, like, the actual, like, collider itself, if you want to think of it some way, is very thin, and it only works in one direction. So that's why when you're standing in the glass, you can pick up the cube, because from your perspective, there is no collider. You're on the wrong side. So it's just like how when you're inside of an object in a video game and you look out, you're not seeing the object, you're seeing through it. It's the same idea, except with picking something up. You can see it because, you know, that's how that works. Right. It doesn't, exactly, 6 out of 10. It doesn't block the raycast going out of the collider, but that is only the case for mesh colliders, not box colliders. So that's an interesting, like, technical thing to know.
Froyo asked, do we plan on fixing some of these abuses of the game? No. So part of me does want to, but we're not going to. Our philosophy now is we only fix bugs if it breaks the main experience of the game. So if someone, like, if a casual player is going to come across this bug, then we got to fix that. But if it's, I would say pretty much everything Gelly did here, we're not going to touch. Now, actually, one of the things that's interesting about the mesh collider, and this is a funny story. For a long time, we actually did not have, so there's two things I want to talk about with the doors, the mesh collider. So you can see the way that the door is constructed here, there's actually a million pieces. So you can see it's like the way it's broken down, right? I mean, it's all a bunch of tiny pieces, and they animate. We actually have an LOD system, so because we don't want to have have all these different box colliders all the time in the game. So we actually have a system where when the door is closed, it disables all of these, the colliders, and just has one single box collider. So that is why you can't go through doors, because we actually replace it with just like a solid box collider that is disabled during the animation. So when it animates, we re-enable all of this and does that. Is the FPS in the editor always this bad? Yes. My PC is from 2012. I need to make a new one, but we've been so busy I haven't gotten around to it. I've been trying to make. It's been on my list to make a new PC since we launched. So the other thing, we actually used to have all box colliders in the game, and that was because of the water. Because all of the water in the game is actually, the length of the water is calculated every single frame. Or Aaron, is it every like 3 frames now?
It's every some odd frames in most levels. 044, where you put all the god cubes, does not do water calculations regularly. So that's the only exception. But
so anyway, we actually calculate the water. We update the water regularly, so it's actually constantly being redrawn, because you can, bend it and put a block in front of it and like move geometry. And the way it calculates, what it does is, let's say this is the start of the water, right? It comes down, and let's say it hits this. What it does is it then it grabs this mesh, and so in the past everything was a box collider, so it would grab the dimension along that side, and then it would calculate, like, okay, where did the water hit the box, the remaining distance, and then that's how far it would draw out this way, and then it would drop down again, and it would constantly do that. And for a long time, we thought because of this that we had to have box colliders. And then Arthur, who basically is responsible for the graphics and a lot of the systems and is probably a genius, he came in and he figured out a way to use mesh colliders. And I was like, how are you calculating this? Well, it turns out if you switch it to a mesh it actually keeps all of these faces are still triangles. So he just used the triangle to calculate the distance. Like he used every face is made up of 2 triangles, and he was just able to use that to get the distance, and he was able to, so instead of having, I can show you, so this is 0.63. Let me see if I can get the 0.63 optimized version. 0.63. Oh, right. So here's another thing. When I work on the level in the editor, it's got a bunch of different box colliders, but what actually is in the game is a merged version. We call it optimized. I don't think I was doing anything interesting, so I'm going to not save. But you can see here's the optimized version. Notice here in the right, everything is organized. It's organized by renders. It's organized by colliders. And you can see here, it's combined mesh collider. So we don't actually have control. This is a bit of a special level because I guess it was big enough to put the entire level into one single mesh collider. Some of the other levels they're split up, and it's algorithmic how it's done. But you can see it's keeping that, right? And you can see the triangles. So that was Arthur figured out how to use the triangle to get that. And anyway, Gelly is basically taking advantage of some of these hidden faces inside, which is cool. We do not play test on an iMac Pro. We I don't think anyone on the team owns an iMac Pro. People have joked about getting it as a business expense, but no, we just assume there aren't problems there. Let's continue. Something that no, there is. I think ProBuilder has a mesh combination tool. We're not using that. We're using our own.
We're not using the ProBuilder
We're using
system.
Arthur's system.
Yeah.
Wait, where does he get? He gets 2 blue cubes, right? Where does he get both of them from?
The tree. He kept the one from when he clipped through the wall.
Right,
he pulled that one with him, and then he got
cool.
one from the tree.
I see. Yep. Oh, right. That makes sense. Oh, cool. Yeah, does that flake trick only works from the back? This is pretty funny. The optimal falling path. Falling, yes. We did want to encourage you to fall because we can't jump in the game, which I know people just want to jump because you can do it in every other game and it's fun. But we wanted to encourage falling. Yeah, that's like a Manifold Garden specific motion. Or the way you fall and the amount of falling.
There's no penalty for falling, and it kind of goes with the theme of the game with the world wrap, so it made sense for us to have that be the fastest movement option, technically. Can you pause it here, by the way? I want to talk about the Fly Like an Idiot tech for just a second. So the interesting thing I was talking earlier about the box colliders and all that stuff and the Fly Like an Idiot tech is actually a very good example of that because if I remember correctly, boxes like the cubes don't use continuous detection, and you're also doing it. I think isn't he doing it from the backside? Yeah, you're doing it from the backside. So the backside of that is
yeah.
The backside of that portal is part of the level, which is a mesh, but the front is part of a door, which is a box collider. So that's why you wouldn't be able to clip through the front properly. But then, yeah, he kind of clips it around and stuff like that. Once it's inside already, then everything kind of falls apart and it's already broken. But yeah, that's a good example of how the fact that the box colliders versus the mesh colliders and continuous versus non-continuous collision. It just like this is just a very good example of all these different tech layers interacting in different ways that we didn't expect. And it perfectly lines up to make this trick possible. It wouldn't be possible, or you would need to do this in any.
Somebody asked if we were going to fix that, like where it slipped through, and I was like, that is a bug of a bug. Like, it's like, it's a behavior that's not supposed to happen in a part that you're not supposed to be doing, and I was like, no.
The cube just goes back into 001. What's actually happening there is that the cube position isn't being reassigned correctly. So it teleports to the hallway, then somehow gets teleported back to 001, but its position is still in the hallway. So it's teleported to a random coordinate because it has to world wrap itself back into 001. And then it's out of your range, so you let go of the cube because it's way far away. So you could look around and you could look around in 001 and eventually you would find it. It would be laying on a face or falling through this falling world looping somewhere. But yeah, basically what's happening there is it's kind of a wrong warp actually is what it is. So the cube just wrong warps and then it ends up in 001.
So the way we do things, so you can see this is level now. It's not being rendered because there's no render layer that gets assigned at runtime. But essentially, I don't know if these if this is going to work. The LOG. Where is
the world wraps?
I don't know if that's going to work. Yeah, you can't really get a good one here, but the idea is that we actually do duplicate this thing like 125 times, and then what happens is we actually load each level. They're all loaded in the same space, but they're like 3,000 units apart, and then each level has its own world wrap section. And the way it does that is like an object, a box would know it's in. Like if I have a box, it'll be like, oh, I'm in this level, so I will respond to this world wrap. If I'm out here, I get teleported back here. What happens is in that portal, you accidentally move the box into here, but it's still using the world wrap of this level, so it'll just get moved into like whatever position it decides it's the correct one inside here. Now, when you do carry it across a portal properly, then we do reassign the world wrap. We're like, okay, now this box belongs in this level. Please use this other world wrap. But when you fake it, like what you did, like what Gelly did, it doesn't do the proper like level assignment. Oh, this is a hilarious thing. Did you? I think you noticed Gelly, instead of like walking straight up, the light goes around it. There actually is a bug in the version on Epic right now. There's like an invisible collider you have to go around, but it's because as that door animates, I think the last collider actually like is a little slow. So if you're going too fast, you actually get snared a bit. But you just
that's been fixed on our side, and it'll be in the next patch. So Gelly, you won't have to avoid that on your next runs.
Where's he going with? Oh, right, you're skipping straight to. This is this part did break my heart a little because you basically skipped like 5 of the. It was like like 90% of the game. That was cool. I don't know what happened there. How did he go? Why? What's this from this side?
The portal extends under the door. The portal right there extends under the door, which is non-intended, and that is technically a bug, but there's no real reason for us to fix it. It wouldn't fix this for him, because he would just be able to walk a little bit to the side and then still just get behind the door and go through it. It's just easier for them because it's
yeah. Sometimes because like with these doors, the design of it will be like kind of weird like that. Like that'll be the shape of the door. So often what we end up doing is we just make a portal that's like a little bit bigger, and then we don't have to. In the past, it's like you got it just right, then you made it a little bit. You changed the boundary, then you had to like update all that, and so we would always Yeah, you're it's kind of exploiting this thing we did to like the safety boundary. Yeah, dealing with Unity BS, especially for this one. This is kind of cool. This has nothing to do with the speedrun, but this is a neat thing because that door is actually in the other instance of it. So the way that level is designed is actually staggered. So if you, right, so now if we look at that instance, the way the level is built in the editor, the door is actually here, and then the switch, I think, is here. That's the switch. And so that line is actually 2 lines. But because of the wool wrapping, this second door, the duplicate of this door, appears here. Now, my drawing isn't lined up, but that's... Anyway, like, it has nothing to do with the speedrun. We're just showing off. Yeah.
It's a cool technique.
So, like, it's one of the feedback, I won't say where this person played it, and they were like, the game is called Manifold Garden, but they only had that one manifold, the Taurus, like they didn't even do anything with it. It's like, technically we did, if you were paying attention, some of these are actually skewed because, it's not, they were like, oh, they just like wrap in every direction. But actually 0.15 and that level do actually stagger that.
Actually, an extension of what you just said, the first level in the game, 000, is a staggered world wrap. It's not by much, but it is.
Yes, and that is purely, it looks
because
better.
If you look at yeah, no, it does. Yeah, if you stand in 000 and look in any cardinal direction, you'll see that it's slightly off to the side each world wrap. It's not exactly lined up, and it's just a little staggered because it helps. But it's not very much different. But there are levels that use portals, because sometimes, like in that level that we were just looking at just now, that is technically portals, not world wrapping, but the idea is the same. Technically, world wrapping is just 6 huge portals on each sides of the level, but not from implementation wise, it's not. But like mechanical wise, it is. So, we just can rearrange the portal system and we have areas that are bigger on the outside than they are on the inside. We have areas that you can walk up a structure and then be lower than you were before or the same as where you were before. So stuff like that. Yeah. So you have which is it?
The offsets.
The offsets. Yeah, so the offsets. Yeah, that basically staggers it. So
yeah, so different. Here, that's choosing how far the world wrap should be in each distance. So if we actually go into, we'll zoom into this level. So this green box is showing us that world wrap position. And yeah, for the first time there was no offset, but then it just looked really ugly because you'd have all these levels, but then they all had that thing extending out in the same, and it wasn't that fun. So we staggered it. So in this case, it's purely visual. But yes, Aaron is right. It is staggered. It's not used in the way, and he's also right about what is that level? 801? 801, yeah.
It's 801. It's 801.
Yep. Just talking about, and you'll see that one is not well wrapped. Instead, it is with just cleverly placed portals. Is this 801? Oh, by the way, the inspiration for that, frankly, right, Robie House. How do I spell Robie House? R-O-B-I-E. That's just made myself look like an idiot. Robie House interior. That is the you might recognize when you're walking in. That's that hallway. It is inspired by this. This is actually a building here in Chicago. And when the team, I think about a month after we launched, the core team members came and we took a tour of this building, and Sam, our VFX programmer walked in and he was like, "This looks just like 801," and I was like, "Well, technically 801 looks like this." But let me see. Let's pull up this level again. 80. Is that?
An interesting note.
Wait, hang on. Oh yeah. This is it. You can see this level. Now you see that is the portal, but you see, notice that that line actually breaks. Like, see, the door is there, and that should be a portal. Let me search the portal.
I have the back disabled.
It's you can see that's the portal, and here it says it's. Oh right. The connection is here. Oh, here's a cool one. You can see this is the map of the game and all the portals and how they're connected to each other. It's a huge mess. So I can search for 801. Better than it used to be. It got a little messy as we were working. Yeah,
it's in the black section on the left.
Okay, so you can see 801. Notice that's portal 3250A1, portal 3250A2. These are the two portals. So you can see this line. It's going like that, right? So that's A2. It's connected to A1 inside the same level. You can see most portals are connecting to another level, but every now and then you have portals connected. This is a custom tool that we made. Let's go back to Jelly's run. Where is it? Okay. Anyway. Okay. Yes.
I wanted to make one more note. There in the stagger levels, there is actually a very small space in between the staggers that if you move into there using no clip, I've never done this in a normal. You guys could try it. The speedrunners could try it, I guess, if you want. It doesn't help you, but if you use no clip and fly into a very specific spot in the world wraps, you can actually end up getting outside of the world wraps and not world wrapping correctly. Your player just does that. And I've never actually been able to do it in a normal game, but I'm pretty sure it has something to do with how the staggers line up. So you'll basically, because it's staggered, one edge, like a very, very small part of one edge, won't be overlapping with another world wrap because of the way they're spaced together. So you'll walk through it and then not end up being world wrap because it doesn't have anywhere to put you, and you'll just be out of the world wrapping, which is really cool in concept, but technically shouldn't happen. But it's because of the fact that if we use staggering only in one direction, it would not occur. If we use staggering in like certain intervals, it wouldn't occur, but it's just because of the specific way that level staggering is set up that you are able to do that in 000. But anyway.
Do you see towards the end, you see Gelly is actually using a lot of the ornamentation to fall correctly. That was intentional. Not the particular path he's taken, but that was the thing. It's like we try not to have empty hallways. There's always a lot of ornaments so that you can use that stuff and fall and travel faster. I discovered that became clear early on. I mean, because we have these long levels and it's just like a pain to navigate them.
I'll be right back.
Excuse me. Yeah, this is another one. Again, the portal, I think, being wider. Yeah, this is I think you're walking along the. There we go. Yeah. Or no, you're not walking along that one. Yeah. I don't know. Oh, yes. Here you're about to perform it. I think that's just Unity physics. It's what Aaron was saying about like the continuous collision. Yeah. So you're taking advantage. Let me see if I can bring up 802. That's very much an exploit of the way the level is built. Let me see the door, 802 custom door. Yeah, you can see because we had to put the door there, it just happened. I mean, I guess I could have like built it that way, but so it's not consistent, and he's kind of taking advantage of that and walking along this blue side. Do I collect stats on what kind of path people take? We do not. We wanted to set up some kind of analytics system, and we just never did. We never got around to it. And then I think also because Apple is very strict about what you can, the type of information that you can collect. It was like by the time we thought about doing analytics, it was pretty late in development. And then also we would have had to make it PC only. Yeah, we thought about doing that, just sort of detecting the, measuring the amount of time that people spent in each level, but we never got around to implementing it. This is kind of cool. I never really, that movement, it's funny, I never expected people to go through it, to fall through it that way. You know, part of the game is like there's architecture, but then you're also doing cinematography, and it was like I had these horizontal lines leading you to that. And it's just kind of funny seeing you like completely ignoring that and using it this different way. Mark, who worked on, he rewrote a lot of the bugs with tetrominos and fixed a lot of them. I think when Gelly said, you know, this level is legendary because we have to solve it the way that it's intended, Mark was very happy to hear that. Yeah, this level was probably the most... I think we had the most problems with it from a bug fixing standpoint, just because it brings together. First of all, it's massive. Let's see if I can bring this up. This is 806. It is a massive level. It is like my computer. I don't even know if like just opening it might crash. We have problems just opening the level. It's huge, and then it has. I think it's one of the few levels where it has tetrominos, water, world wrapping, the solid state object. It's sort of, it doesn't, you're not growing a tree in that level. Like, look, it's still opening 806. Actually, we have a tool just for this level where it's an optimization tool only for the duration of working on it. Let's see if I can find... I have to be careful. If I click on an object that has a lot of children, it would actually freeze Unity. So I'm being a little... Let's go to this one. So if you look at the columns, yeah, look at it's okay. If you look at this column here, oh, do we not? Yeah, this is what it was like working on it. It was painful. Well, it looks like we did. Do we not optimize this? Okay, yeah, you know, you can see Unity's freezing up now. Somehow I designed this level with like Unity freezing up constantly. We actually had to have like a level where we would replace each of these columns with an optimized version, because sometimes clicking on it would just cause Unity to freeze up. How did I not go crazy? I think I did. Who's to say? Yeah, who's to say I didn't? How much have I observed people? A lot. Yeah, we did. We used to get people recording the game, sending it to us. Yeah, we did. I think we don't track kind of like community playtesting. We track, professional because they have to. They send us the invoice. But I would say by the time we launched, we had done about 2,000 hours of professional QA, and probably equal amount, if not more, for community testing. Do I preservation? I've thought about it, but it's also, I don't know. It's not really. The thing is that's a question or problem for the industry as a whole, right? How are we preserving everything there? I thought we fixed it where you had to grow all of them, but maybe not. Aaron totally said he fixed it. And I guess he didn't, because I thought we made it so you had to. This is one thing I actually do want to fix. If it looks like he's only doing 2 turns, the way this level is designed, let's go to that level. It was intended that you had to grow all 4 trees and bring it back. And I swear to God, Aaron was like, "Oh, I fixed it," but clearly he did not. Aaron, would a better PC have saved me hundreds of hours? It's like, you guys ever seen that? Have you guys seen that? This comic. That was me. Actually, I need to write that down. Aaron, the fixed 071 puzzle hack. So that is one that is interfering with like the main sequence, but I'm sure speedrunners can figure out. Or maybe not. Maybe we'll leave it. I've got to take a look at that. It's supposed to be symmetrical. That was not intended. Yeah, I mean, it was supposed to be like a super. When I designed it, this level was meant to be easy, and it was supposed to be very cinematic. Like, oh, I'm completing this, and there's a certain level of symmetry. Like each time you go a tree, the music grew more epic. It wasn't supposed to be challenging. It was supposed to be epic. Almost all first time. I mean, they really should. It is. Oh, I just want to say that this level in dark mode looks fucking awesome. Yeah, I remember playing this level towards the end of development and being like, this looks great. Hyperfect. Yeah, there's definitely a lot of work. I mean, I can talk about like some of the tricks. So one trick, and I've talked about this in my GDC talk. Let's go to this world 000. It's very subtle, and I'm actually preparing a GDC talk next. Well, actually, it's in like 3 months. In 2 months, we'll do a practice run on the stream. So if you're not at GDC, you can hear a bit about it. I do have to delete the VODs. I don't think they'll like it if like I'm giving a talk that is, you can, it's a, but Okay, so one of the things that we do with hallways, some people might not notice, but you notice this piece of glass. So if you are going down in the correct direction, if you're looking down, right? Because if you're in this hallway, it's like, well, do I go this way or do I go this way? You can turn around. As long as you look down and you see a piece of glass, that is the correct way to be facing. If you're looking at the wrong way, you're going to see a wall. And the glass always goes into the direction that you are. So it's very subtle. You know, we could have put a giant arrow, and I think it's stuff like this that, you know, the moment to moment as you're traversing the space, you're like, this feels good. Like maybe you don't register, but we're very consistent. I mean, if you like see that hallway's there, I can pick another hallway, right? These hallways, they use that as well. This uses it as well. This uses it. So it's like we establish this pattern. I think when it starts to go against it, your brain's just like, I don't know, this feels like the wrong direction. Oh, if you save and reload, it skips the, it's not, yes. Then, and the reason why is a way we save is the way the lasers are set up, right? Because if you look at the laser, so you've got the switch, you've got the line, you've got the laser, and this is actually caused a lot of problems. So you've got three elements here. How do you save their states? And so, you know, if the player's playing the game, it's like this is the switch is the start, right? The switch turns on, which turns on the light, which turns on the laser. However, if you're loading the game, which of these three tells it what state it is in, right? Because, you know, if he says like, hey, I'm on, and then the light is like, I'm on, you know, if you tell, so, okay, for example, if you load a game and the laser switch is like, hey, I'm on, and then the switch where you put the box is I'm on, the switch sends a message to the line to tell the line that it's on, which tells the laser switch that it's on, but then the laser is already on, so you end up, do you see what I'm saying? It's like there's just too many messages and they conflict. So what we do is we tell it's the line doesn't do anything and the laser doesn't do anything. The switch handles it, handles the message, it initiates. So like the switch turns on, it turns on the line, and then it turns on the laser switch. And it goes through that motion even when you're loading. But when you are loading, it tells it, the only difference is it tells it to do it immediately. So if you're playing through the game and you turn on the switch, it will, you know, it'll have like the line animation and it'll go through the line animation. But if you're loading into the game and this guy's on, it'll say turn on and do it immediately. And I think that's why. So yeah, if this guy's on and you start that sequence and then you save it and load it, because the switch's state is the only one it's saving, it'll be like, oh, I've been turned on and you're loading the game, so turn on everything else immediately. And then you end up skipping that. So that's like we could avoid that, but then it gets really freaking messy because then is the thing an Athon, and it just, you know, the way I like it, the way we've done it, because it's discrete, right? It's off or it's on. That's a cool exploit. You don't have the facility to do it immediately. Yeah. It doesn't actually. It sends two messages. It turns it on immediately, and it doesn't. It turns on immediately, and it doesn't. It doesn't play the sound. It tells it not to play the sound. I think Aaron just left. He didn't fix 071. Just leaves me hanging in the middle of this call. Just kidding. Oh, Gelly, Martin was super happy that you gave a shout out to the sound of the cube going up the stairs. That was actually a big. It seemed like it's been a really big hit with players. I will admit I fought against it. The cube impact sound actually took us forever. It was a long discussion. Like at first it was realistic, but then it didn't work, and we just kind of kept going back and forth. And Martin added this, and I was like, it wasn't that I was against it. It just kind of came out of left field. And I think I was part of it was like, one of the things that working on this game really taught me is trusting other people. Because I think when we first started, I worked on the game alone for 3 years. And there was actually I had a bit of a hard time working with Martin, the sound designer, because I was like, why isn't he just doing exactly what's in my head? But I learned over time, it really is like a collaboration, and it's not a fighting, but it's like a, there's a push and a pull and a discussion that goes back and forth, and it's the result of that process that is the final work, right? Like letting other people make creative decisions, and that was one that I would say is really Martin. And in fact, I kind of was against it, but we ended up being in, and it's a huge it's a big hit. And it's really cool. It's actually, it makes it's like you're just carrying a cube upstairs, but that sound makes it fun. It's like when you see like a xylophone. I guess you don't see a xylophone often, and you probably shouldn't do this, but you kind of just like want to run your fingers along it. Somebody said like a stick along a fence. Yeah, that is a bug right there. I don't know if you saw it, but the cube disappeared when there's supposed to be an animation. It wouldn't affect this. That was cool. That what you did there, the counting 1, 2, and then landing at the exact spot. Oh yeah, here's the other thing is the collider gets enabled right away. We thought about having the collider sync up to the renderers, but it was going to be too challenging. It's like, what if the player moved into a position where then the collider needed to be in? So we just like, okay, we'll just enable the colliders. It's like a 3-second sequence, but it allows for this exploit. Did you see that? You were moving so fast, it actually didn't even have time to load the rendering of the portal. Didn't have time. Like he opens it up and it's purple. Like you can't even see that because he's moved too fast for it. Hey Tardy, thank you for the sub. Oh, and I think Sean Noonan also subbed earlier. Thank you for that. Yeah, we want it. Oh, here's a cool thing. And it's only possible. I'm gonna go to that level. Is it 80? What is the ending level number? He just left. It would be hilarious if Aaron, I just never talked to Aaron again. Like he's like, bye. There's still a call. Let's check out. I think it's 80. Is it 810? No, what is the final level name? 072. Oh, yeah, 072. If you notice, the top of those portals, so those doors, they're inspired by Balinese temple. And I've always wanted temple gates. I love the way these look, and I've always wanted them, but we couldn't put them in the main game because the portal involves you have to have a collision on all 4 sides, right? Otherwise you walk up to it. But because in that final level, we don't let you fall, I was able to have that look. So you can see, let's see. Oh, no, wait, this is the wrong level. It's actually the next one. Oh, wait, 902, I think. Oops. Yeah, it's 902. Yeah, you can see, and these are, it's the portals connect you to it. Yeah, okay, so we got the giant wall there. And let's see here. Okay. So there is a portal. But yeah, so you can see the portal actually goes up there, and if you were higher, if you were at the top, you would see there's a problem. But because you can't gravity change, we're able to have the look. Oh, the other thing that makes that look possible is that there is no geometry, right? It's not only can you not change gravity, but this is the one level in the game that the world does not repeat in that direction. I think it repeats this way just so we have the illusion of the massive wall, but it's nothing except for the skybox, and so so we were able to do that, which I thought was when I realized I could put these gates in the game, I was so excited. Oh, the other thing too, I don't even know if it's clear, but they are staggered, right? So they're staggered, and then, but as you walk through them, you go in a straight line. It's another cool thing. When you look back through the gate, it is a little bit off. Yes, that is correct. You are correct. It is a little bit off, but we figured, like people would just be wanting to. It's the end. Like it was like there's so much momentum to find out what is at the end of the line that we could bet on people not looking back. So yeah, it is a bit of a trick there. Exactly. Yeah, Salter, you never thought to look at it because you're like, just finish the game. This has to be the ending. I want to see what's there, and we just could have like trusted you to. One of the endings early on was you grew the colorful world. You walked around, and then the credits just played. It was like the most anticlimactic thing. This falling ending did not, like, I don't think we came up with it until like 2 months before ship, and we could not find a good ending. And finally, we brought on this guy Hirtnellen and Draken, who worked on Starseed Pilgrim, and I was like, what is an ending that feels right? And it was like a whole bunch of discussions that came together, and I think here came up with the idea of like having you fall, because that's such a pivotal motion. And I thought, I love that having you step off. And people were like, do you think people are going to know to jump off? And I was like, I think after playing the game, here you are. We thought you left.
Hi.
Okay.
I actually do have to leave, so.
All right. No, it's all right.
Yeah, I'm sorry I had to drop out a little early. I did enjoy analyzing what we did, though. I'll probably watch the rest of the VOD later. Nice to see you, everyone. Have fun with the rest of the stream. I'll see you guys later.
No worries.
Yeah, sorry. I gotta go, fam. Yeah, all right. See ya.
All right. Okay, so what we're talking about was the ending. It's like, I like that because it's a throwback to the opening, right? The first time you step outside, the game asks you to take a leap of faith and jump into the unknown. And then you find out that the world wraps, and it's like, oh, cool. And I thought, the ending, it's like one more leap of faith, except this time you don't see the world wrapping. Like this time you're really jumping into the unknown. And I thought that was really cool. So yeah, and I think the I think here's a trick with games. You want to have a strong opening and a strong ending. The middle part can be a little bit rough, but if you end on a good note, people will forgive the little bumps along the way. So you have a strong opening, have a strong ending. Don't worry too much about the middle. Like, don't obviously, shouldn't be problematic. Like, if people are getting stuck and losing interest, that's not good. But the middle doesn't have to be perfect. But put a lot of effort into the ending. Put a lot of effort into the opening. Yeah, it's so important just to, because I think we got a lot of great reviews. I think critically we did, and a lot of players, they're just like, man, I just finished the game. It was awesome, and I think it's because that ending is really solid. So anyway, that is our analysis of Gelly's AGDQ 2020 speedrun. Thank you, AGDQ. Thank you, Gelly. Thank you to the speedrunning community. I haven't really been following too closely. We've been sort of super busy post-launch, but everyone on the team, we were all so excited when we saw that it was an AGDQ. I think the whole team was watching, and it brought us a lot of joy. So that was awesome. I'll stick around for a bit. Let me know if you have any questions. We'll bring back. Garrett is in the chat. Garrett worked on a lot of the audio. Garrett worked on a ton of stuff. Garrett, by the way, I don't know if you were here when we were talking about the using cube to get behind walls. I think that's some of the kind of cube through player stuff that we did. That they're exploiting, but portal sound traveling through portals. That is something that it's really cool. You probably don't even notice it, but it's the thing with audio, it's like when it's working, you don't notice it. It's just part of the world. It feels natural. Have I considered providing some sort of sharp sound effect or visual for speedrunners to mark the end of their run? Sausage, it should be what Gelly said when the kaleidoscope come on. It's actually, there's the sound that goes, that is the sound. It's actually a little bit off. I saw it in the video. It was off by a second or two. That's supposed to sync up perfectly. We're actually talking to the audio team, Martin and Larissa. We're talking to them on Saturday. So what's the thing that's challenging about that ending sound is that the credit sequence is different for every platform, and so because of that, there has to be this buffer zone built in. But definitely that is our intention. The speed run. Hey, Arthur is here. Arthur K. Brucey, who is, I don't know where to begin, but certainly the graphics system in the game and a lot of the tech, all thanks to his work. And you know what? Congratulations. I wanted to give a shout out. We have been nominated for the Game Developers Choice Awards Best Debut. Now, actually, Arthur worked on Ori and the Blind Forest, which a few years ago won Best Debut for Moon Studio. So, I don't know. 2 games in a row. We'll see. But yeah, we've been nominated for Best Debut. And we also got an honorable mention for Best Technology. Look at this list. Death Stranding, Control, Call of Duty, Apex Legends, Noita, Gears 5, Resident Evil 2, Manifold Garden, Sekiro, Outer Worlds, Star Wars Jedi, Outer Wilds. So, any idea why the ending cutscene starts over at the end of the run? I am not sure. That's not supposed to be happening. We did not get Visual Arts I gotta say, I was a little, I don't want to be presumptuous. I thought we had a great shot at the Independent Game Festival awards. We did not. We got an honorable mention for audio, so congratulations, Martin and Larissa, well deserved. I've been applying for IGF, I think, for like 7 years now. I really thought we had a good chance at art. I have heard from people that apparently they're trying to separate IGF and Game Developers Choice, like, because they both happen at the same event, and I think if there's a lot of overlap, people are like, well, what's the point? So I think they're maybe focusing, I don't know, like maybe because it was like the kids table and the adult table and got bumped up to the adult table. So we're not competing with other indies, or we're alongside Death Stranding and Sekiro. But anyway, we're super happy about it. So congrats. Honorable mention for best technology, and we are best debut. So at the Game Developers Choice. So pretty exciting. True first world problems, I know. Well, actually, here's a funny thing. So IGF, the awards, there's prize money, and this year you get there's a $1,000 travel stipend, and not only that, you actually get 2 full access pass to GDC. And I think for Games Developers Choice, because they're Game Developer Choice Awards, because I think traditionally been AAA, there's no prize money. There's no travel stipend, and you just get an expo pass. But it's not where we are. We're just excited to see that people are enjoying the game, and we are so happy with the reception and very grateful. So anyway, I will be back. I don't know if I'll be back tomorrow. Things are pretty busy, but I'm trying to get back into a regular level design routine. Arthur, yes, I do. People on the team, let me know if you're at GDC. I will request expo passes. I think we do get to sit at the table with the award winners, which should be fun. Let's see what else. Oh yeah, and we are planning on. Arthur, I know we've talked about this, but we do want to, like, not release the code, but certainly articles, and we want to talk about the we want to share the tag, like either it's videos or articles just on like what we've done, because there's a lot of cool stuff. Okay, I will see you all later. And thank you all for hanging out and watching our analysis of the speedrun. And thank you again for Gelly for your A+++ performance. See you all later.